It's October 20th, and that means you have exactly 3 weeks before Beyond Light comes out. It is time to prepare. This guide will tell you what to do to prepare for the next expansion. We'll be discussing this on the basis that you'll be trying to go for a day 1 clearing of the raid, which will come out on November 21st. We'll be discussing things like bounty hoarding, which exotics to go for as soon as possible, and which legendaries to take with you into the expansion once sunsetting hits. All weapon recommendations will also be for PvE as well. PvP will not be taken under consideration, considering, honestly, I'm not much of a PvP person as I said before. First of all, let's discuss the must-have exotics. These were picked for a variety of reasons, from easy to add clear to high damage to possible meta shifts once we learn of them eventually. We'll be starting with kinetic weapons. First on the list is Huckleberry with its catalyst. This thing shreds through red bars easily, and has practically unlimited ammo thanks to its catalyst. The exotic itself is a world drop, but you will need to farm the heroic story missions to get the catalyst to drop. You can head to Mercury and just farm the heroics there, as well as doing the daily heroic and the playlist heroics to get your catalyst to drop. Next is Izanagi's Burden. In order to get this, you'll need to start the quest by grabbing the mysterious box at the Volunder Forge, then shoot the drones that spawn on each of the forges during their second phases, and complete them to advance the quest forward. Head to Ada 1 and get the Black Armory key mold, then go to the Leviathan and go into the Underbelly and kill the Watchers that spawn there. You can find many raid groups looking for these anyway, now that it's prep time, but you can also do it solo as well, provided that you're quick enough. Or you can bring a friend to make things a lot easier. Once you kill enough Watchers, you can farm 10 heroic public events, then go to the Bergusia Forge and shoot the drones there too. From there, you need to start farming Forge bounties in order to get a rare bounty from Ada. Once you complete it, you'll need to run the Shattered Throne dungeon that's over at the Dreaming City, then run a special version of the Pyramidion Strike. Run the final mission in the EDZ, and you're done. Witherhoard was the exotic that was included with this season's Season Pass, so you should be guaranteed to get it. It does have a catalyst that does give it auto-loading holster and a handling boost, so I'd highly recommend working on it as quickly as possible, especially since once this season is over, the progress you get for using it slows down considerably. That's it for kinetics, but what about energy? First, let's start with Sunshot. It's a 150 RPM hand cannon that basically gets a cracked version of the Dragonfly perk. It's great for both PvE and PvP, and its old drawback of a small magazine is now gone. In fact, if it wasn't for other exotics in the heavier kinetic slot, this would probably be considered the must-have weapon for PvE. So get it as soon as you possibly can. You don't have to worry about the catalyst though, since it doesn't do anything but add stats to the weapon. Risk Runner is next. However, if you were a new player, you should have already gotten this exotic from the New Light Cosmodrome mission at some point. Even if you're a veteran, you can still run this mission to get this weapon for free. Its catalyst isn't totally necessary since all it does is increase range, but it does masterwork it, so if the kill counter means anything to you, then you're going to get it anyway during the Pain and Gain quest to get this weapon in the first place. Trinity Ghoul is the newest weapon to get a catalyst that's making the community go crazy right now. It can literally chain lightning and kill multiple enemies with just one shot. It's a world exotic drop, so farm those pinnacle drops as soon as you possibly can, and kill literally everything in the hopes that an exotic engram will drop. Otherwise, hope that Xur sells it at some point, or get one of his faded engrams. Its catalyst can also be farmed in the strike playlist, and I got it to pop literally on my very first strike of the season, so its drop rate should be pretty good. Jotun is basically what rockets are supposed to be in terms of direct hit damage. This thing can track enemies and hits pretty damn hard. It one-shots invaders, for no good reason, and it's a newbie player's worst nightmare in the Crucible. You can get it from Ada 1 as long as you do the Giant's Might quest. Complete 10 of her legendary frames, then go and farm Vex kills, and you're done. Ariana's Vow is a special weapon exotic hand cannon that came out during Season 8. There is currently only one way to get it, and that's from Master Rahul in exchange for an exotic cipher. You can currently get 2 of these ciphers this season, one from the past and the other that comes from a secret mission in honor of one of the developers that has passed on working on this game. If you've already used both, then sorry, but you're not going to be able to get this unless Bungie adds it to the World Loot Pool next year, although I highly doubt that they will. Divinity is a trace rifle that adds a debuff to enemies that makes them take more damage, a must-have for any raid group. You can get it from going to the Vex portal near Sorrow's Harbor, kill all the enemies until an exotic engram drops, and that'll start the quest. Go to Nessus and clear the Orrery, Ancients Hunt, and Conflicts Hunt lost sectors, and find and analyze the oracles that are there. You'll need to kill Vex on the moon until you can progress further. Yes, it must be the ones on the moon. I know it sucks because this quest really was meant to be completed during Season 8 when they used to spawn all the time. Trade helium filaments with the lectern near Eris on the moon until you get enough phantasmal fragments for the empowered decryption core. You should only need 30. After that, you'll need to hop into the raid and complete the divinity puzzles. Honestly, I'm not going to show this part because I need to get this video out in time, so look up a proper guide. You'll be able to find a raid group that's running divinity runs, and Sherpas will be more than happy to help you as well. Alright, last is heavy weapons, starting with 1000 Voices. 1000 Voices, or 1K for short, can be found at the end of the Last Wish raid. Yeah, I know, you might not be comfortable going in, but trust me, it's one of the best raids ever, and I really think that you should try it at least once. Don't worry if you don't get it on your first try, just keep farming it until you finally get it to drop. I was lucky enough to get it on my first try, #humblebrag, but you might need to run it multiple times to get it. Whisper of the Worm is a heavy sniper rifle that gives you ammo back from reserves if you land all headshots in a magazine. A must-have for those that need a DPS heavy weapon if you can't get the others. Now, the Catalyst is impossible to get at this point without having to find secret chests and whatnot. However, it's not exactly necessary anymore since it was nerfed into the ground. Just complete the Whisper of the Worm mission and IO and you'll get it done. Anarchy is the Scourge of the Past exotic weapon. You've probably seen me use it in a lot of my streams as it's one of the best DPS helping weapons in the game. Fire 2 shots, then switch to something else for DPS for some more damage. Thankfully, you can farm the Scourge raid, and it has bad luck protection, so worst case scenario, you'll need to run the raid 20 times. It's a really short raid though, and it's very easy to learn, so, you know, go farm it. Xenophage is the Pit of Heresy exotic. To get it, first you need to go into Eris' portal. If it's not active, you can go to Sorrow's Harbor and head towards the strike. Instead of going right, go left towards where the story missions are, then head up. You'll be in the Pyramid Overlook area. There are 4 pillars that you need to light up all at the same time. A chest will spawn that will start the quest for you once you open it. Head over to the Anchor of Light where you're going to be picking up a ball of light to log around. Unfortunately, I won't be able to show you this since I've already done it, or any of the next steps really, but there are plenty of guides out there for you to find. Finally, there's Deathbringer. Honestly, this is only here because there's a catalyst coming and hopefully it'll make this thing actually good because otherwise this thing really sucks. You'll need the Memory of Saimota quest from Eris as well as a Firewall data fragment. The Firewall fragment comes from a bounty that Eris has weekly and the quest comes from her weekly quests, so get those done as soon as possible. Once it's gotten, head to Sorrow's Harbor and kill as many Nightmare enemies with arc abilities as you can until the quest progression is done. Go into Eris' portal and open the chest next to her, then follow the quest progression until you get to a 3-part mission including killing a Bone Collector enemy. Do the first 2 as normal since they're pretty self-explanatory, but to find the Bone Collector you'll need to head to the Anchor of Light and look for an acolyte that is walking around and is a yellow bar. He's your guy. Complete the Scarlet Keep Strike. It's not a special one, it's just the Scarlet Keep Strike. You can even do it from your directory itself. You don't have to farm it in the strike playlist. Then go to Sorrow's Harbor and just farm the Altar of Sorrows until your progress is done. Complete the quest near the Hellmouth, and then go back to Eris and you're done. Alright, that's all the exotics I recommend. I won't blame you for honestly maybe ignoring some of them, but honestly, just one weapon from each category would be good enough to help you a lot in this coming expansion. Now let's talk about legendaries, and to make things easier on you, most of these can be gotten from the Umbral engrams. First up is False Promises. Anything with Overflow, Subsistence, or Feeding Frenzy, plus Rampage or Swashbuckler will do you just fine. Next is Whispering Slab, just in case bows ever get a buff. We have Archer's Tempo, then pair it with either Vorpal Weapon, Demolitionist, Swashbuckler, and maybe even Sympathetic Arsenal. Next up is Cold Denial. Feeding Frenzy plus Swashbuckler or Multi-Kill Clip, maybe even Sympathetic Arsenal, will do you just fine. After that we have Hollow Words, just in case fusions ever get good. We have a Feeding Frenzy plus Vorpal Weapon roll that should be pretty darn good should, fusions ever get a buff. Next is Gnawing Hunger. You know the drill, it's pretty darn hard to get a bad one, but if I were to pick just one role, I'd take Subsistence and Rampage every time. Swashbuckler works okay as well, but Rampage is the only mod of the two that has its own supplementary mod, so yeah. After that, we have Night Watch. If scouts end up getting a major buff, this thing will end up being a beast. You can either roll Outlaw, Rapid Hit, or Subsistence, plus explosive rounds, or Rampage, or multi-kill clip. Even Demolitionist will do you pretty good as well. We then have Bad Omens. If you can get this thing with either tracking rockets or auto-loading holster, plus cluster bombs, Genesis, or kill clip, you're pretty good to go, should rockets ever receive a buff. Next up is the 7th Seraph Shotgun. Get yourself an auto-loading holster plus Vorpal weapon roll. Even Trench Barrel will do you good as well. Nothing else is really necessary with this particular weapon. After that, it's Truth Teller. Obviously, you want to be going for the holy trinity of Spike Grenades, Feeding Frenzy, and multi-kill clip, but you can make do with auto-loading or field prep in the first slot, and even Demolitionist, Disruption Break, or Swashbuckler in the second slot as well. Just good luck getting one. Rahul is pretty stingy when it comes to giving these things out. Next, if 180s get a buff next season, then the Ikelos hand cannon will definitely need to be that one that you go for. Get yourself a Subsistence or Triple Tap and combine it with either Disruption Break or even better Rampage. This can only be found in the Prophecy Dungeon though, so get to grinding there. Next is the Ikelos Shotgun. Again, it only comes from the Prophecy Dungeon. Try to get yourself a Feeding Frenzy plus either Vorpal or Trench Barrel or Rampage, depending on whether or not you want to use this shotgun as a DPS shotgun. I personally am hunting for a Feeding Frenzy Rampage roll myself as an instant add delete weapon. After that, we have the Ikelos Sniper. This one can be gotten from the engrams as well, so don't worry about running into the Prophecy Dungeon. If snipers get a buff that helps them in PvE, then get yourself either a 4th times the charm or triple tap and a high impact reserves roll. Finally, for the Ikelos weapons is the SMG. Try to get Threat Detector, Subsistence, or Grave Robber, and combine with Vorpal, Demolitionist, or Surrounded. Unless you don't have the Surrounded mod, then just either get Vorpal or Demolitionist. Next is First In, Last Out. This is mostly because, though that you can get an Outlaw Vorpal weapon roll, and slugs are pretty good DPS shotguns, provided you can probably aim with them. Overall, I wouldn't pick this one for most engagements. It's just there mostly as a DPS weapon. Only 4 more, guys. Next up is Death Adder, another weapon of the Prophecy Dungeon. Get yourself a Feeding Frenzy or Subsistence combined with Dragonfly and you're good to go. After that, we have Behringer's Memory. Get yourself a Spike Grenade, Clown Cartridge, and either Disruption Break, Demolitionist, or Auto-Loading Holster Roll. Second to last is Huscow. This annoying rocket launcher particularly drops from every other time in the Prophecy Dungeon, so getting one won't be too hard. Find one with either Field Prep, Auto-Loading Holster, or Tracking Rounds combined with either Cluster Bombs or Demolitionist. And finally, we have Falling Guillotine, the must-have sword of the season. Get yourself a Relentless Strikes and Whirlwind Blade combo. Surrounded also works provided you have the mod, but Relentless and Whirlwind is by far the best one. Alright, that's all the weapons I'd recommend. They're really easy to get this season. Next up is Bounty Farming. It's real simple actually. Just do as many bounties as you can that are dailies or weeklies, and then just hold on to them until next season. Don't turn them in as soon as the season starts. Instead, play through the campaign on all 3 characters. That way you can unlock the bonus XP reward from the season pass. Then load up with some friends that also have those rewards, and make sure that you have a Guiding Light Ghost Shell equipped for an additional 10% XP gain. Once you have a bunch of friends in an instance together, start turning in the bounties. You should gain a considerable amount of XP that'll get you a head start. For day 1 raid clears, artifact power won't matter, but if you don't care about a day 1 clear, then it'll help. If you're going for day 1 though, artifact mods will be available, so I'd still turn in those bounties in order to get those mods to unlock since they could help considerably. Next is character playthroughs. It's highly recommended that when Beyond Light does release, that you start playing Beyond Light using your least played character. I know it sucks, but trust me, by the time you get through the campaign and go up in light level for the week with that one character doing all the pinnacle drops, your second must play character will get up much faster. Then, once your second character is played through on the week in all activities, play your usual character. You'll find that you'll be considerably higher in light than your least played. It's because you gave yourself a head start by handing your higher light weapons over and forcing the game to dish out higher light rewards for you in order to help even out your light level. You can also check vendor-engrams.xyz in order to find which vendor is dropping high light level gear, so that way you can more efficiently have your gear leveled. And finally, we have planetary materials. We do know that Bungie will be doing something with the materials that will be sunset along with their respective planets later on. What that is, we don't really know, so I would recommend holding on to whatever you have. If Spider is selling any for legendary shards, it's up to you whether or not you want to exchange shards for materials. We're getting to stock market speculation style territory, but if I were a betting man, knowing Bungie, the exchange rate will probably suck. But again, it's your choice on what you want to do. Alright, that's really about it for preparation. Again, you got 2 weeks to find all of this, so, don't go crazy and burn yourself out before Beyond Light comes out. Take your time and enjoy the game. Don't be like me and turn it into a job because you have to record videos and whatnot. That's it. Like, subscribe, follow on Twitter, Twitch, buy a shirt, go lick a goat.